Chapter 23. Emma. With the talent show looming ever closer, the entire weekend is filled with more auditions, an intense negotiation about the price of the venue we want, meetings discussing the talents we've seen so far and reviewing their performances as we try to narrow it down to an appropriate amount. It's Tuesday the next time I see Frank. Jenna and Julian have been showing him around, and I think the two cousins have enjoyed getting reacquainted. I'm walking along the quad with Hannah and Avery when he spots us from afar. He waves and starts moving. A couple of students stop him to get a selfie, and he happily obliges. Word has spread that he's in the neighborhood, and from what Jenna told me, they spent a large amount of their tour stopping to chat to his fans. "I can't believe you know Frank Churchill," Hannah says and stares at him as he smiles and chats with the women. "I don't really know him," I say. He extricates himself and comes running over to us. "Hi, Emma. I'm so glad I found a friendly face. Can you believe Julian and Jenna just left me here to go to class?" His wide smile lets us know he's joking. "Frank, this is my friend Hannah." She blushes and can barely look at him as he greets her. "And this is her cousin. You remember Avery?" He reaches out a hand. When Avery takes it, he squints. "I know you, don't I?" He keeps holding her hand. She tries to pull it away. "She worked on your movie," Hannah says when Avery doesn't speak up. He slowly shakes her hand before letting it go. "I think I remember. You were in quite a few scenes, right? What did you think of the experience?" Avery blushes, and I see the resemblance to her cousin. "It was fine." She sounds curt. I blink and wonder if there's something she isn't saying. Like if he was a drama queen on set or something. "So Emma," he says and takes my arm. "I actually wanted to talk to you about something." We keep walking toward the dining hall where Hannah, Avery and I had been headed. "What's that?" "Julian tells me you're arranging a talent show for charity. I looked into the organization you're working with, and I like what they're doing." Oh. A flame of hope is kindled inside me, but I try to tamper it down. "Yeah, I've seen both men and women in the business who struggle with eating disorders. It's so easy that the pressure becomes too much." He looks distant, and I wonder if there's a story there. "It's a great charity. We were actually scouting talents most of the weekend. I don't suppose you know how to keep 5 plates spinning on long sticks." He laughs. "No, unfortunately, I don't." "Avery will be singing," Hannah says breathlessly. Frank raises an eyebrow at Avery. "Really? Actress and singer? That's impressive. You should come hear her." Hannah seems glad to have something to say. "Maybe I will." "You should come," I say. "It's in 3 weeks, and we would love it if you were there. We'd be thrilled if we could get you to participate in some way. It's for a good cause." "So, are eating disorders something close to your heart?" "Nutrition is," I say. "I'm not sure what area I'll focus on yet, but I want to help people build healthy bodies. I'm going to have to check my schedule. I have some commitments I can't get out of. For instance, tomorrow I have to fly back to LA to get a haircut." Squinting, I study him to see if he's joking. He laughs. "It's a standing appointment. Very hard to get. And if I don't show up, they might not let me back on the list." I struggle to not roll my eyes, marveling at how different his life must be. "Will you be back in time for Julian's party?" "I wouldn't miss it. We're having so much fun. I forgot what it's like to just hang out without everyone blasting it all over social media. Will you be there?" He takes in all of us. "We will," I say. "Great. I can't wait to hang out with you again." He lets go of my arm. "I have to go. It was nice meeting you, Hannah. And Avery, I hope I get to hear you sing soon." With a wave he's off, pulling up his hood to hide from the people hurrying to class. "Oh. My. God." Hannah sighs. "I can't believe I just spoke to Frank Churchill." She turns to Avery. You didn't tell me how larger than life he is. Avery shrugs. You get used to it after a while. Oh, I forgot. I have to go get something from the library. I'll catch up with you guys later. Okay. Hannah wrinkles her forehead after the young woman. You hungry? I ask as Hannah checks her phone. Her face goes pale. What's wrong? She shows me. It's another picture of Edwin and the small, black-haired woman. His arm is around her, and they're posing for the picture. The caption says something about childhood friends reconnecting with sparks. You have to stop checking up on him, I say with a sigh. Block him. Stop following him, do something. Hannah bites her lip. It's not doing you any good. Keeping tabs on him. Her voice is barely audible. But I need to know. I shake my head. No, you don't. But I say it kindly, remembering that I promised myself I wouldn't interfere anymore. Maybe it's not my place to tell her to block him. Maybe I should let her do what she wants. But this obsession can't be healthy. Just think about it. If it makes you sad, I don't want you doing it. Hannah nods. I'll think about it. We walk into the dining hall, and I can't stop a laugh. What? Hannah asks. Can you believe he's flying to LA for a haircut? Doesn't that seem a bit silly? I suppose. Could you imagine any of the other guys here doing that? Knightley would never. Of course, he cares about what his hair looks like. But he's not insane enough to believe that there's only one person out there who can get it right. My thoughts linger on Knightley's hair, and I realize I stopped paying attention to Hannah. She's gotten in line and I trail after her. Not imagining running my hair through Knightley's hair. That is not something I think about. At all. Chapter 24. Emma. On Saturday afternoon, I come back from more meetings and Knightley is sitting by the kitchen counter on his phone. Hey, he says. I was just about to go for another run. Want to come? Was he waiting for me? Eager to get my body moving, I hurry to get changed. As we run, I wonder if this is becoming a tradition. I'm definitely not checking him out. Not at all. We get back to the apartment, sweaty and panting. His eyes linger on me. What? I ask as I do some stretches. Do you ever go to the gym? I laugh. Do I look like a gym girl? Do you want to come? He's only wearing a thin t-shirt, and his muscles play under it as he moves his arms. With you? He shrugs. Sure, I could show you the machines. I don't know. I grimace. It's not my thing. Okay. I'm going to hit the shower. I nod after him as he disappears, and head to my room to get undressed so I can shower as well. This time I don't linger. I shower and wash my hair as quickly as possible. I have to get ready for the party Julian is throwing tonight. I get out of the shower and wrap my robe around me. It took me all of one day before I decided I needed to get a thick, warm robe if I'm going to live here. The distance between my room and the bathroom is exactly 5 steps, but it's 5 steps out in the open in the same apartment as Knightley. I leave the bathroom to figure out what to wear. An angry voice stops me in my tracks. Knightley is on the phone in the kitchen. I carefully approach. He's in a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt that's clinging to his wet chest, but his hair is dry. He hangs up and growls. What's wrong? He glares at his phone before looking up at me. My hair is hanging wet around my shoulders. My shower isn't working. What's wrong with it? It's leaking from the faucet. That was the landlord, he nods at his phone. He won't be able to come fix it until Monday. Do you mind if I use your shower? Oh yeah, go ahead. Let me just grab some things. I spin around and examine the bathroom. I grab a couple of bras that I left to dry and gather up some stuff. When I'm sure there's nothing incriminating and I've got what I need to do my hair in my bedroom, I let him in. Sorry about this, Knightley says as he places a shower caddy on the counter. He hangs a towel on the rack. It's fine. I retreat to my bedroom, before my mind can run too far with the scenario in the bathroom. Like Knightley getting naked. I chose a low-cut black top with long sleeves and a pair of straight loose pants. Paired with high heels and dark lips, I like the look I got going. I let my hair hang in large curls around my shoulders. Once I'm happy, I leave my room. Only to find Knightley pushing up the sleeves of his tight sweater by the front door. He's wearing distressed jeans and looks like a god. I stare at him for a moment, until I realize my mouth is open. He must have sensed my stare because he looks up. His eyes burn up and down my body. You look beautiful, he says. Thank you. I want to clench my legs together at that smile. So do you. I blush as I head for the refrigerator and grab some water. How can a pair of forearms make me react like this? I take a long drink of the cold liquid. Just because he has muscles that tense under that shirt. Are you ready to go? I freeze and lower the bottle. Shit. I take my time as I turn. Well, actually. The doorbell rings. He furrows his brow at me, and I want to tell him not to open the door. But he's right next to it. Frank Churchill smiles up at him. Up. I blink. Knightley is the taller one of the two. I hadn't noticed before, but with them standing next to each other, it's obvious. Good to see you again, man, Frank says and holds out a hand for a weird bro shake. Yeah, you too. Knightley sounds confused, but Frank's attention moves past him and lands on me. Wow, you look amazing. Are you ready to go? Yes, I say. Let me just grab my coat. I almost sprint to my room. When I get back, Knightley seems tense, but he stepped back to let Frank inside the door. Barely. So software? Frank asks. Yeah, Knightley says with venom in his voice. Mostly for larger corporations. I'm ready, I say and put on the coat. As I walk past Knightley, he holds out a scarf for me. A pink knitted scarf. It's my favorite. Thanks. I take it and wind it around my neck. See you at the party. He doesn't answer, and Frank offers me his arm as we leave. The apartment door closes behind us. I would have come downstairs, I say. Like I told you. Frank smiles at me. You really look beautiful. Thank you. And I didn't want to be rude. I've always felt it's lazy to just sit in the car and honk or text. I smile. When Frank asked if I wanted to go to the party together, I was taken by surprise. It's just a gathering at Julian's, and I assumed we'd just meet there, but he insisted on coming to get me. I had to tell him about Knightley, of course. But I guess I should have told Knightley about Frank as well. I'm not sure whose car he's driving, possibly Dee's, but he drives as if he's taken one too many driving lessons to feel like a regular driver, but too few to drive skillfully. I imagine stunt driving is something they have trained him in, but I still don't feel completely safe when he takes the corners too abruptly. At Julian's, the music is blaring. Frank pulls down his hat and uses a scarf to cover half his face. There are people outside, and to my surprise, there's a bouncer at the door. Frank says nothing about it, as we make our way past groups of women trying to get in. The bouncer takes one look at me and Frank and waves us through. Emma? Jenna is chatting to Ellie by the door when we get inside. What's this? I ask and point my thumb back at the bouncer, who's refusing to let in some underage-looking girls. Ellie rolls her eyes. Mr. Famous here was doxxed. Someone found out about the party, and it's all over the socials. Luckily, we were able to get some security. I wanted to cancel, Jenna said. But Julian said that people would show up anyway, so we might as well just go with it. Don't worry, we gave them your name and photo, so you're good. Ellie is looking around. There's a lot of people inside, but I can see a large man in a black sweater trying to usher 3 girls through the people and to the front door. They scream when they spot Frank. To his credit, he smiles and waves at them. I'll be right back, he tells me and heads for the girls. Jenna sighs. I really hope we won't have any trouble. It'll be fine, Ellie says. Dee says the bouncers are the best, and next time we'll know to hire them in advance. She turns to me. Let's get you a drink. We move to the kitchen, and I get a drink shoved in my hand. Frank returns and takes a water. Soon, we're all dancing in the living room where they've moved the furniture aside. Every once in a while, we're interrupted by someone wanting a picture with Frank. Even with the bouncers, there doesn't seem to be any chance for him to enjoy a party without fans. When it happens for the third time, I understand why he's sticking to water. He really doesn't seem to mind, though. Hannah and Avery show up and join us on the dance floor. I spot Knightley as he sulks by with a bottle of beer. I spend the evening dancing and chatting with Frank. He's pleasant company and an excellent dancer. And when my feet hurt, we move to the kitchen where we're joined by Jenna and Julian. Noah is somewhere on the dance floor, trying to pick up his next victim. This is great, Frank says and looks around. It's been so long since I was at a party like this. I'm sorry you have to deal with so many fans, I say. I've had a few drinks and I'm feeling relaxed. It's no big deal. Without them, I wouldn't have a job. Besides, I think most of them are gone now. He grabs a bottle of vodka and pours some into his cup. Knightley, Julian gets Knightley's attention over my shoulder. I feel his presence as he comes up next to me. Having any fun? I ask. Or are you too busy standing in a corner, watching everyone else enjoy themselves? He gives me a half smile and rolls his eyes. Guys? Ellie shoves in among us, leading Dee by the hand. We're about ready to take off. Someone bumps into her from behind and she drops her purse. Dee is instantly snarling at the guy who stumbled. Ellie's purse spills open and a couple of things fly out. She puts a hand on Dee. Relax. I bend down to pick up the handcuffs that slid across the floor. As I get up, my eyes lock with Knightley's. For the briefest of moments, I think I see him crook his eyebrows as if in question. What are those for? Jenna asks innocently. I hand them over to Ellie, who just smiles. Thanks. I'll let one of you explain these to her. She winks, then grabs a grinning Dee and they saunter off. I blush as Julian leans in to whisper something to Jenna. Knightley takes a sip from his bottle, and I do my best not to meet his gaze. Jenna is turning bright red, and I can't help smiling at her discomfort. There you are, Hannah says as she and Avery enter the kitchen. She's had a drink or two, and is much more relaxed than usual. Thank you so much for inviting us, she says to Julian. And I'm sorry we were a bit late. Avery got flowers, and we had to find a vase. Oh, fun, I say to take my attention away from Knightley and the thoughts of handcuffs. Who from? We don't know. Hannah winks at Avery. There was no name on the card. But Avery has been spending a lot of time on her phone. I want to dance. Jenna is still flustered. Hannah, Avery, and Julian file after her out of the kitchen. Sounds like someone has a secret admirer, Frank says quietly to me. I wonder who it could be. And why the secrecy? Maybe it's a teacher. Frank raises an eyebrow. I laugh. It is not. Can you imagine if it was? We move through the crowd that seems to be lessening now that most people have gotten a picture with Frank. Maybe it's Knightley. The smile dies on my lips as I follow his eyes. Knightley and Avery are talking together. She's smiling up at him. Frank doesn't notice how wrong he must be. He pulls me onto the dance floor. Determined to have a good time, I push all other thoughts aside. As the party is winding down, Noah finds me alone. The woman he was chasing all night just left with another guy. It doesn't seem to bother him much though, and I'm almost certain he has someone lined up he can spend the night with. You know, he says, his words slightly slurred, if you marry Frank, I'd have a famous brother-in-law. Right, I say. How much have you been drinking? I'm only driving upstairs. No, not drive. Don't drink and drive. But I don't need a car. I roll my eyes. Knightley, tell her I'm right. Noah waves Knightley over. Right about what? He asks. If she marries Frank. Knightley's eyes bounce from Noah to me and back again. What about marriage? You know I'm right. Because he's famous. If I marry Frank, he would have a famous brother-in-law, I say dryly, since Noah isn't making any sense. I suppose. He looks at my face, as if he's trying to find an answer there. I blush slightly. He pounds his drink. There you are. Frank comes up to us. He's swaying a bit. As the evening wore on and he felt more comfortable, he had a few drinks. I can walk you home. He smiles. I'll walk her. Knightley places the red cup on a table. Emma? I smile at Frank. I'll go with Knightley. Thanks for tonight. I had a great time. Me too. His eyes are glossy as he smiles. See you later. Without another word, he disappears into the kitchen. I frown after him. I didn't expect him to walk me home or kiss me at the end of the night, but I had somehow expected a bit more. Ready? Knightley asks, and I nod and put on my jacket.